I don't know who will win, but I think, and I have written this also, this election was indeed a referendum which should have been against Mamata Banerjee because she is in power for 15 years. There is anti-incumbency. But this SIR process made this referendum against the election commission.
This narrative of Bengali violence on the psyche, I think it puts you on the defensive immediately. I feel like I'm always defending Bengal. I'm always having to defend my identity, which is not a good place to be in.
What an intense, excruciating assembly election it has been for West Bengal. And it's not yet over. The BJP has thrown everything at trying to win West Bengal. Why does it covet Bengal so much? What is at stake here? And why does it seem that the outcome of this election, no matter what that outcome is not just about the people in West Bengal and their aspirations, but also about what West Bengal symbolizes, which is, where this ideological battle for the idea of India will head after this election. So many questions. Luckily, I have the perfect people to toss these questions around with. Please welcome Sayantan Ghosh. He's a writer, journalist, and professor at St. Xavier's College in Kolkata. His book, Battleground Bengal, offers a sharp perspective on the politics of Bengal up to this point. Sohini Chattopadhyay is my other guest. She's a journalist and author of the much acclaimed The Day I Became a Runner. Thank you, Shayantan and Sohini, for joining me. Show me your inked fingers. What was it like yesterday, 29th, when you voted?
It was a very quiet. I voted in Bhawanipur, which is really the heart of
Yeah,
the
all the
poll
action.
battle because it's Mamata Banerjee versus Shubhendu Adhikari. So it was very quiet. So my poll booth is in Park Street, and Park Street, as people generally know, is the South Bombay of Calcutta.
Hmm.
So not too much happening, very little, very few queues. It was also raining yesterday, so it was very quiet. But then Park Street has always been like that.
Hmm.
I've never, so I didn't find any particular paramilitary force deployed. It's always been like that.
Shayantan, what about you? I'm sitting in Mumbai and looking at all these images, these news reports, and on social media, everything that we're hearing about 700 companies of central security forces, all these rules, no pillion riding, between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. So many restrictions. How did that play out on the ground?
Uh, okay, well, I think here we will have to differentiate between the rural Bengal and Calcutta
Hmm.
because Calcutta, the situation is very different. Okay, in certain pockets of Calcutta, for example, in Belegata
Hmm.
constituency, certain pockets of Maniktala,
Hmm.
uh, in Baliganj also, which they call it disturbed
Hmm.
areas. Okay, and where they put a lot of more deployments. In other centers, as Shohini also said, somewhere I also voted in Kasba constituency. So the kind of deployments I have seen in my constituency is very regular. Okay, every time there is always in West Bengal, elections do not happen with the help of West Bengal police. It always happens with the deployment of paramilitary forces,
Hmm.
TRPF mostly. This
Hmm.
time, though, the list is long. But so in Calcutta, deploy the pictures or the kind of things you have heard in the media. It's not Calcutta specific. It is more about other parts in the rural parts of West Bengal.
Every election, it sounds like this pitched battle is being fought, and there is this sense of do or die for all the parties involved. But is this one different? And because of this very traumatic SIR experience that has been reported on in such detail that started in November last year, has that made this election stand out more, or is it different from the previous elections?
This time I feel like people are just taking it they're taking a break. They're exhausted from the SIR. I myself had one SIR hearing, which I could not go for because I was told about it 2 days before the hearing. So my mother went in my place with a letter. So, and I actually thought I might be struck off the rolls. The reason for me that I was given was that my father's age is apparently 16 years old and I'm 42. So this was a logical discrepancy that I was told. So I feel I'm reading a little bit about the elections and I'm seeing a number of analysts writing that this election is about simply the right to vote, just being able to vote. And I'm just thinking about something you asked about, has there been any other election like this? In terms of the visuals of paramilitary force deployment, I've not seen anything like this, but I saw a cartoon on social media. I think it's an RK Lakshman cartoon where you see Mrs. Gandhi and the troops coming in. So I think the 1972 election again in West Bengal. So West Bengal is the president for West Bengal. So that election, widely known as the a rigged election, and came on the heels of the Bangladesh Liberation War. So that election maybe is the only, that cartoon is the only precedent I have for this kind of deployment. And I think Shayantan had a very good tweet a couple of days ago. I remember chuckling about it, where he said that, "Come on, EC, you can bring on the Navy and the Air Force as well."
Chantan, this the SIR trauma, which Shoini has first-hand experience of, and I'm going to now deal with it in Mumbai because Maharashtra has just begun, though we don't have an election uh, on our heads like the way West Bengal and definitely Bihar had before. And the insecurity, if you're not on this electoral roll, has that made this election a particularly traumatic, different, intense one?
Okay, so I will make a differentiation here that SIR is indeed a very important factor and issue which went through during this election and the campaign, etc. But I don't think this election is that important or this election is this intense just because of the SIR. I think the election is this intense because of the high stake battle of it. A high stake battle in the why I'm saying this is that you know that in West Bengal it is a do or die battle for Mamata Banerjee. It's a battle of survival. She's now 72-year-old. Okay. And this time she's fighting an election which is the toughest election she has ever fought. Not even the left, because left was a regional power. This time she's fighting against a national power, and it's a machinery. They call the BJP calls that they are the largest political party of the world. Okay, so and it's a machinery she is fighting this, so it's a high stake. And on the other hand, we all know that how important Prime Minister Narendra Modi as a politician and as a face for the BJP. And this time, his face is at stake because he is the person who has presented himself against a regional power like the Trinamool Congress in West Bengal. So if the BJP gets defeated, then it will be like a regional power of India, a regional political party can defeat the charisma of Prime Minister Narendra Modi
But Chanton,
and the BJP.
didn't we see the same thing happen in 2021? So then why is 26 so different?
Yes, 2021 we saw this, but 2021 battle was very much different because for a few things. Number one, Mamata Banerjee fought the election uh, when the administration was still under her control. Okay, this time the election commission has completely changed her organization, the administration. Not a single in where I stay in my local police station, the people who used to be, as we call him, Habindar, they have changed them also. Okay, so it is that kind of a situation. Number two, uh, last election, Mamata Banerjee fought with the help of Indian Political Action Committee or IPAC, which was then led by Prashant Kishore. They have closed down the IPAC. The pressure was so much that the IPAC has closed down just before the elections. Okay, so and now we are bringing the SIR. This is the first election which Mamata Banerjee is fighting, where her two key vote bases, one is Muslims and second is Mahila, woman. Both these groups are the key defranchised group of the SIR. The deletions in SIR is massive in terms of Muslims and women. Because as something Shoyin just told you in SIR, that this logical discrepancy, it is the most within the woman, in the rural woman. Because generally when women get married in rural households, there is no marriage certificate. They change, but they change their surnames. So there is no proof of this shift. So majority of the rural women face the heat of SIR and the logical discrepancy. And Mamata Banerjee wins elections based on two factors, Muslims and women. So this depleted vote share, voter voices. So this is an kind of a situation Mamata Banerjee has never ever witnessed in her political career. So I think it's the toughest fight and very much different from 2021.
So, very much different from 2021 because of these things that you've just mentioned, which is the way the BJP, which runs the central government and all the institutions at its command, whether it's the EC or the ED and everything else in between, how that has been unleashed to manage this election. Is that the way people in Bengal are seeing what is at stake here and what is being done because of what is at stake here?
Yes, of course. And you know that there has been, and I don't think there is any need to be politically correct at this stage. Because the elections are done, okay? The criminalization of a state happened in front of the entire country. I'm absolutely not saying that violence do not happen. I'm saying that violence can be controlled if you have an intent, okay, with normal deployment of CRPF as well. Here they completely and the best thing is to that go to any Twitter, any social media, wherever any person is talking about Mamata Banerjee, you can check that the recently the right wing social media handles they shared a derogatory meme about Mamata Banerjee on Facebook and circulated. Okay, so and the kind of language that I face it every day, I can say it the very top आप तो जिहादी स्टेट से आते हो now for a political narrative we can fight this narrative but if continuously somebody is saying that okay you are coming from a jihadi state CRPF नहीं होगा तो आप election नहीं होगा so this is I think a kind of a criminalization of a state.
This point about, very well said, criminalization of a state. The last day before we voted on 29th, I saw Mahua Moitro's tweets, and so the sending of a encounter specialist for as an election observer, this IPS officer who's well known as an encounter specialist, that is another underlining of this criminalization of a state.
How has this impacted the Bengali psyche, Shoini?
I think the typical Bengali response is that Bengalis have the axis of violence in Bengal is politics, whereas the axis of violence in other states, such as in Gujarat, it's religion, in UP, Haryana, Bihar, it's caste and gender. So I think the typical Bengali response is that, and if you look at caste violence, and I mean Bengal's, not to condone I mean, I absolutely think even one death is one too many. But just to say, put it in perspective, I think if you compare caste violence figures and political violence, I don't think Bengal features as high. So I think this is a narrative that's being built up for a while. And you had said, I'm agreeing with you, Anuradha, that even the last election was a very high pitched election, high stakes. So this time they have realized that even the last election was pitched as the end of Mamata Banerjee's political career. So this time they've realized, because it was a drubbing, that eventually the election result was a drubbing. So they have made those changes as well to, you know, get more paramilitary forces. Last time I think we had voting in 6 phases, which is the usual for West Bengal because it's a large and very dense state. It's the third largest in terms of the number of MPs we send to parliament. So it is so this time they're doing it in 2 phases, which is very unusual. I've never seen an election like this, and which makes it, I think, easier to deploy a very large number. I'm not sure of the precise number. Shantan might know.
Last time election happened during the COVID, it was in 8 phases. This time it's second 2 phases. But yes, so I think it in different ways. Number one is that the SIR process. Last time you talked about SIR, but I did not say anything about it. The SIR process itself was a kind of a harassment for, I think, majority of the people, irrespective of the class or anything like that. Everybody faced harassment. For example, my mother, she remained within anxiety for a long time because we were unable to find her name in the list. Okay, so there was a confusion. And first psychological game which the I think the BJP played was that if you we are doing the SIR process not to revise the voter list, it's special intensive revision of the voter list. They said no, we are not doing that. We are doing it to identify illegal Bangladeshis and Rohingyas. So we will do that. We will detect, okay, and deport Bangladeshis. So then what happened? Household started thinking that, okay, if my name is not there in the list, I will be termed as a Bangladeshi. And very importantly, and you all know that in West Bengal, take any family, they will have some connection with Bangladesh. Origin. Like my mother's mother is born and brought up in Bangladesh. Okay. So, so if somebody tempts you that okay, you will be termed as a Bangladeshi, okay, that is something that resonates. It's a border state. Okay, if you
I mean, you just have to see the map to see how these borders have disrupted human life
right,
over centuries,
oh,
isn't it? And over
absolutely. If you go to
generations.
if you go to Punjab, okay, if you go to Punjab and say that okay, we are doing this or else this means you are a Pakistani. Okay, you think of the kind of a repercussion it will have. But in this is the I think that criminalization is a psychological game. Okay, and in this game it happens that we are now so used to with this criminalization that anybody or any time will come to us and ask us to okay prove that you are a Indian, you are an Indian. Okay, okay. Like your people are saying that there are records. Top officials of the BJP they have said there is no language called Bangla. Okay, there is okay. There is no language called Bangla, but Bangla is not a language. Okay, so this is the kind of discourse, you know. Now, I again, I will differentiate. One is the impact on West Bengal's Calcutta region. In the Calcutta region, I think many people, okay, we were voting for the BJP just because they do not like Mamata Banerjee, the 2MC. This time, I think the situation has to be changed a bit. Maybe they have not voted for the TMC, but not for the BJP because of this kind of this harassment, you know. Okay, and so in where I stay in Newtown, they have a command center of armed forces. Where do you see this kind of command center of armed forces? Okay, they have bulletproof ACV kind of uh, cars, okay, deployed there. So this is something. I was talking to one of my friends in her birthday. It was from Delhi, okay, who is not in journalism or in our field. So she told me one thing very interesting. She told me, अच्छा वोट डाल दिया ना ना yes वो तो बोला, ठीक है कुछ दिन बाद तो बांग्लादेश बन जाएगा नहीं से okay West Bengal will now this is a narrative being built okay that West Bengal will become Bangladesh and the Muslims are changing your demography. Okay. Now, I can just wanted to tell you this very that I teach in an institution. Okay. So number of Muslim students at in today's time is very less. I think there are several more important issues within the religion we need to address without this criminalization. Okay. And this is your demography is changing and so all this kind of narrative I felt that this entire criminal I have no issues with the revision and the dead voters fake voters
Of
shifted
course.
voters it's very
Yeah, of
it
course.
is indeed it's very important I think I earlier I thought that
Yeah. Yeah, the hygiene to clean up the list so that it is but to use the list to try and identify illegal immigrants, to identify non-citizens, that's not the role of the
and
election list,
and,
is it?
and today I think one person in because Mr. Amit Shah is in Calcutta for quite some time right now. So one person asked him
Hmm.
in a press conference, "कितना रोहिंग्या मिला आपको?" So he said he asked the election commission. ठीक है, election commission को in a press conference, chief elections, the CEO of West Bengal, somebody asked कि
Hmm.
कितना कितना like how many
Hmm.
Rohingyas and illegals are
Hmm.
Bangladeshis? No, this is the job of the home ministry to find it out. And just last
Exactly,
thing I would like to tell
exactly.
you, the issue is that the narrative is one. What is the reality?
Hmm.
The Supreme Court has said that in this logical discrepancy part, 27 lakh people have been deleted. Now,
Yeah.
can we think that these 27 lakh people are Rohingyas or illegal Bangladeshis? The Supreme Court is saying that no. Supreme Court has used their special power of
Yeah.
142 and said that all the tribunals, they can approach the tribunals. Then that means you are not sure that
Yeah.
these people are illegal. You will approach tribunal, tribunal will clear you. If it doesn't, then does it prove that you are illegal immigrant? No, because Supreme Court is saying then you can approach High Court, then you can approach Supreme Court.
Exactly.
After doing all these things, you will be proved.
So,
This is not the process, I think, to find out illegal immigrants.
Sohini, you mentioned that I mean, you don't stay in Kolkata now. You're working outside of Kolkata. You've come back in order to vote, right? And one of the big stories, or one of the big uh, things noticed during this election, was how Bengalis working in other parts of this country, whether they are all the migrant workers, professionals like you, whatever, different categories of people working outside of West Bengal, went back to vote. This was a big phenomenon this election. How important was it for you to vote? And then, Shayantan, I want you to add to that by saying this big turnout. What factor was this migrant Bengali coming back to vote?
They will say there is no connection between having your name on the voter rolls and being denied citizenship. But because the process felt so arbitrary and because it was so taxing, it was such a harassing process that my fear was that if I don't vote this time and I don't
Mhm.
have a voter slip, that if my name is taken off the rolls, because everything has been feeling so arbitrary, that I will then have to spend several days running after the Indian vast Indian states bureaucratic machinery to get my paperwork in order. So it is illogical, but that anxiety I think is very real. So I spent a lot of money actually. The tickets were what I paid for to come is the price of a return ticket, but it was just to ensure that I don't have to enter that never ending process, the labyrinth of the Indian state's paper bureaucracy. So that's what it felt like. And to answer a question that you had asked earlier, what is the effect of this criminalization and this narrative of Bengali violence on the psyche? I think it puts you on the defensive immediately. I feel like I'm always defending Bengal. I'm always having to defend my identity, which is not a good place to be in.
Chantan, this high voter turnout over both the phases, record breaking turnout, highest ever since election started. How do you
Okay,
interpret
so
it?
I think there is an arithmetic behind this also. The arithmetic is that if you, I'm not good
Hmm.
at it, but I can, what I have heard, that if the
Not am
if the
I.
total number is decreasing, okay, if the total number has come down,
Hmm.
so then automatically the share, the percentage will go up. It will show the percentage is high. Okay, so that is one. Number two is that what happened with me, I think, on a lighter note, that I knew how to drive my car. Okay, but we did not have a car, so I was not driving. So when my wife finally decided that we will have a car, then only you will drive, she told me. So finally, when the car came, and then I started driving it. So the process of SIR was like that. You have fought for your right to vote. You have worked so much harder. You have taken holiday, you have taken leave. Many my people who are working outside, they came back to Calcutta to put their name up in the list. So that's why they felt that, okay, we will have to vote. That is number one. Number two, I think it was an emotional voting against the SIR harassment. Okay, that okay, we will not allow this kind of harassment to happen. Number three, this entire narrative that if you do not vote, your name will be deleted. Now, if my name is deleted, then maybe my son or my daughter or other family members will face the heat. Okay, so that part is also there. Lastly, there was very much mobilization in the state by all the political parties that you will have to come back from other states and vote, because or else your name will be deleted. Okay, so all these issues coming together, this high voter turnout, what we witnessed. Okay, and that's why you will I know people in Calcutta who will never vote. They have gone out and vote. And politics is all about fearing the common people. So Trinamool Congress is saying that okay, if your name is deleted in the list, okay, and then your Lakshmi Bandar is closed. Okay, you are not getting any government benefit. So they are scared. Okay, BJP is saying that okay, if your name is deleted, we will deport you. So people are so much frustrated on the ground. See, I know that everybody is saying that BJP will win. I don't know who will win, but I think, and I have written this also, this election was indeed a referendum which should have been against Mamata Banerjee, because she is in power for 15 years. There is anti-incumbency. But this SIR process made this referendum against the election commission.
What I find interesting is now what Shantan has brought this conversation to, which is that when you vote, the idea is as a citizen, you want better government, better governance, you want facilities, policies that that make your aspirations come true, that make life better for you. So are you both saying that because of the SIR and because of the way the BJP and the central government institutions went all out to sort of capture Bengal in a way for them, that Bengal has not voted for the reasons that one votes, and which is, what kind of government do we have? Has this government delivered on all its promises? Is there corruption? Are there jobs? How is the economy doing? Did that get completely, sort of swept off, went off the table where this election was concerned, Shoini?
Yeah, I think watching from outside, that's what I felt. I felt the entire narrative was dominated by SIR, but mine is a view from outside. And a friend of mine who is with the CPM had said that if the SIR narrative picks up pace, Mamata Banerjee will make sure to go to town with it. And that's what I think happened. I think she's the
Went
first
to
chief
Supreme
minister
Court.
ever to go to
More than,
Supreme Court.
yeah.
Yes, she's the first. So I think that's what happened. And although I have to say that I did vote on the basis of what I feel should be a governance issue, I sort of rejected this. I voted, I went up, I came back to vote because of anxiety, but my vote is for on governance issues. So I did that, but one can never say what one is voting for,
Yeah, yeah.
who people are voting for, and why.
Shantan?
Okay, so what I think is that I would like to take you guys all to the moment before the SIR was announced. Okay, in West Bengal, what were the key issues? Arjikar happened in West Bengal. People were really angry about it. Women's safety. 25,000 working teachers lost their job by just a verdict of the Supreme Court because of the scams of the Trinamool Congress government. The dearness allowance of the government employees are stuck for years. So of course, then unemployment, no new industries coming. Okay, so all these issues were on the ground, and people were angry against Mamata Banerjee. People were looking at a change, maybe. But what the BJP did, they remained silent on all these issues. I mean, today it's irony that today uh, the mother of the Arjikar victim, Abhaya, as we call them, is fighting from Panihati assembly seat in the BJP ticket. But the same BJP did only one rally on the issue of Arjikar in Calcutta. Okay, just one rally. The protest which you have seen is mostly orchestrated by the left-leaning organizations and not by the BJP. So the BJP, and that is why today what has happened. Now coming, that is one aspect. Second, coming to Mamata Banerjee, I think Mamata Banerjee is a master of narrative creation. You give her a chance, she will change the narrative. She's a street fighter. She took up the SIR issue as the medium to sideline and deviate from all the anti-incumbents issues and made it the key issue. She reached out to Supreme Court, as she said, rallies after rallies. She is so. This is why today neither BJP is talking about Arjika nor Mamata Banerjee is talking about Arjika, women safety. Nothing. These conversations are there is no conversation. Everywhere people have talked about SIR. Okay. Bangladeshi, SIR, Hindu, Muslims how will vote, Hindu consolidation will happen or not, Muslim consolidation will happen or not, vote consolidation, Mahila, how will the woman vote? These are the issues. These are not governance issues. So I believe if the vote, as Shoini has also said, the election is happening on the issue of governance and development, and SIR was not there, or would have there just as a normal, regular phenomenon, then the situation would have been much different.
But the process of SIR has also been very, very, sorry to interrupt, but the process of SIR has been very anxiety provoking. So I stay in Gujarat, where also SIR is underway. And it is nothing like this at all. It is happening very smoothly. So this is not the same experience that other states are having. It's clearly something reserved specially for a border state like Bengal. And I'm curious about whether something like this will happen in Punjab, because the narrative about infiltration is seemingly only for Bengal. Somehow the border over there is not seen as porous. It's only Bengal which is seen as having a porous border.
So let's go back to the governance issues. What I find interesting, and in your first chapter, Shanton, you have actually articulated how the BJP, from being zero in vote share, seats, etc., has become this main other party. So you have the TMC and you have the BJP. Everybody else has sort of fallen by the wayside, at least up to this point, right? So what? How did a state that had more than 30 years of left rule, and we've seen West Bengal, and historically we know about the social reforms. We see this as a secular state. We see how caste, religion, all of that seems to be secondary, right, to culture, to intellect, or are these romantic notions? I don't know, but those are the perceptions, right? How did a state which was educated and trained in a certain way under the years of the left party's rule swerve right so sharply when it comes to the opposition in the last, since 2014?
So, few things I would like to tell you. First of all, I think that what I understood that this idea of people left was in power, but we must not think that the people who were supporting the left was only supporting because of their ideology. They were supporting the left because of a continuation mostly. It was a continuation, number one. Also, there is always opposition of the opposition, right? When Mamta Banerjee was growing as an opposition, there were people who did not like her and remained with the left if they were not liking the left as well. So this is, I think, one aspect of it. Okay. So that is why when the shift happened, see, when Mamta Banerjee in 2016 assembly election, left and Congress, they fought separately. And there, if you bring both of their vote share, it comes to around 39% vote share of CPI, the left and Congress. And BJP's vote share was 10%. I'm going by pure arithmetic. In 2021, what happened? The left and Congress's vote share combined remained around 7%, and the BJP's vote percent became 38%, 9%. Sorry, 2019, I'm talking about. And that continued. Okay. Now, so I think that people shifted from the left to the BJP because of their anti TMC or the anti Mamata stand. Okay. And that is why, because of this shift, we realized that the allegiance was not with the political ideology. Because now these people who have shifted towards BJP, they are saying Jai Shri Ram. Okay. They are walking in Ram Navami with open sword and all this. Right. So that's why I'm saying I think the left still gets the people who are ideologically connected with. And that's the 5% to 8% ratio. Others were voting for the left for their comfort and not for the ideology. And that's why the shift. In book, I have shared one story. You will see, you will see that majority of the people who used to vote for the left and vote for the BJP, they are voting because they do not like Mamata Banerjee. To stop Mamata Banerjee, they are doing. So
So, so then you're saying that there is no great love for the kind of, for the kind of package that the BJP is offering, which is this heightened Hindutva, anti-Muslim. Is there, are you saying there is no core acceptance for
no,
that?
see what I have understood from West Bengal is that, and I think it's
Sure.
true for entire India as well. Okay, the Hindu identity politics was not there in India in this way earlier. In West Bengal, nobody has witnessed it. Now, when this started to develop this thing, it is a very new phenomena for West Bengal. And that's why you will see that the polarization of the BJP, the aggressive Hindutva push of the BJP has a limit. And in my study, I can say that that limit is that is where the you will see from 2019 to 2024 the vote share of the BJP is stuck at 38%. That's the limit of polarization in West Bengal. If this increases in this time, process 45, 46, then we will see that there is a change. Okay, there is a real change of through polarization. Now, I think that still what I think that West Bengal, both Hindus and not only Hindus, Muslims are still very progressive, okay, secular in their own sense, which means that, and I'm saying secular in the sense that they are not even see that in different parts we have seen in Kerala also we have seen hardline Muslim organizations, outfits, okay. In West Bengal, one person tried to make a Babri Masjid, okay, and fighting this election, okay, and you can see that people are not coming to their rallies. Nobody is saying that Humayun Kabir will consolidate the entire Muslim fraternity of West Bengal because we are not hardline or any religion is not hardline religion in West Bengal. Last thing I will say that the BJP very strategically used one thing. We will have to accept that in West Bengal, there are people and very huge number of people who, in the family wise, who have witnessed Muslim violence over against Hindus in Bangladesh. That's why they left Bangladesh, fled Bangladesh, and had to come. Hindu families. We all know these stories. And I can say because my family, as I told you, my grandmother fled from Dhaka during the freedom movement, the independence. She witnessed her own sister to be stabbed by Muslims. But I have never seen any hatred within her in her lifetime. But that does not mean nobody will have it. So this sentiment was used by the BJP, worked very efficiently on bring up this kind of hatred, and that's why Sohini will also be able to find this out very easily because in Kolkata today we have a good number of people. If you talk to them, you will understand that they are very much against Muslims, which I have not seen while I was growing. This is a change.
Yeah. Shantanu, I differ slightly with you in the sense that I don't take this, this view of Bengali exceptionalism and Bengalis being especially progressive. In this, and I agree with you that the BJP has tapped into old wounds because we must remember that the parent party of the BJP was born in Bengal with good reason. The Jansang was founded by Sir Shama Prasad Mukherjee, and with good reason, this state witnessed exceptional violence. In 1946, Gandhi came here. Gandhi was in Calcutta when Nehru was doing his famous speech. Gandhi was in Calcutta to prevent such violence, and those are old wounds. In fact, what I think is exceptional in a way is how the left managed to sort of paper over that.
I think there's so much we can talk about, right? And we will. But can we close this with your sense of, irrespective of the outcome, where is Bengal at?
I think that this election, whatever the outcome is, this election will change Bengal's politics forever. If Mamata Banerjee wins, then it will be a victory of a regional political party against this kind of a machinery, okay, which has not happened earlier. If the BJP wins this election, then it will become it. then it will become a norm. That's the way this political party shift and change has become a norm. Buying people and toppling a government has become a new normal. Then it will be a new normal that okay, we will employ paramilitary force, we will employ election commission, ED, CBI, okay, capture the entire uh, opposition and fight the election and we can win. It will be a module. So I think this is something there, and I don't know. I think whoever comes to power, they now work on development, go beyond this kind of this polarization and these narratives go out, uh, go beyond this. And lastly, what I wanted to say is that one thing I think is very important in this election is Mamata Banerjee, which and the way she's trying to create an image of her. If you see her, she's she is trying to create an image of a restless woman, okay, is continuously moving around in the dais, okay, walking, okay, she's walking 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers in a day during the campaigns. I think this is something what will determine the result of this election is women, how the women are voting in this election. Because you know that maybe today a lot of people talk about West Bengal's cultural and connection with Shakti. Okay, in rural Bengal, courageous woman is always looked up to in our society. And this is the kind of an imagery Mamata Banerjee has tried to create this time. That I'm a woman, okay? See, I am completely cornered by men in power. Okay. Be it
Yeah.
ED, be it CBI, everybody, every institution is run by men. And they are cornering me. And I am fighting that. That's why I think many good books have been written on women voting pattern and its importance. I think this will be a case study, this election, how women are interpreting and voting. So let's see. We will have to wait for that.
It's good to know that women in Bengal are seen, and even outside Bengal, Bengali women are seen in a certain way of being equal, of owning the spaces they occupy, of having great agency. And Mamta Banerjee and a lot of her MPs that we are familiar with in the national media symbolize and amplify that.
And I've been very happy the past week with Shayani Ghosh's videos going viral. I've been very happy to see that kind of electioneering. It's very energy giving and it makes you feel happy. And also, I'm very impressed with the left front and their new what they call their youth faces, and they've pushed for different sorts of representatives. So I've loved seeing the campaigns of Dipshita and Meenakshi Mukherjee and Afrina Begum. So I feel like there's joy in that, and I wish there was more of that. And I mean, very very grateful to people like Shayani for putting up this image of Bengali women being feisty and fun and having fun things to say. So I just thought it might be nice to speak about things other than anxiety. That gives me some hope.
Well, we'll keep hoping and we'll keep talking, Shohini. Thank you for making time to do this. Thank you, Shantan. We'll keep talking.